Okay guys, hello. We are back with another Primarch, Conrad, the Edgy Boy. Um Honestly I really wanna learn about him a lot because I love Blood Angels, I love Sanguinius, but it's just the way these guys look is so cool, it's so edgy, I can't wait. Also, you know how usually in the intros, well, I started to now tell about what's going on in my life or something. So, last week was basically a party going on every day in here where I live. So I stopped posting some of my game footage. Maybe some of you like it. So here's a little small play I had. DPD Adventures. And I like to put them because I hate this game with their unfair hit. So this is completely fair, I think. I just want you guys to see how stupid it is. Look, okay, bam. All good. Now this makes me angry. What the hell was even this, bruh? Anyways, every time I make a video, I try to make a format. I think I like it when in the intro before the video I tell something or something what happened. I think it's cool. As more videos are gonna be pumped out, it's gonna be better and better, hopefully. Now, enough of the blabbering. Let's listen to the Remembrancer blab.
It has been said by the tacticians throughout the ages of mankind that no plan survives contact with the enemy. I do not waste my time countering the plans of my foes, brother. I never care for what they intend to do, but they will never be allowed to do it. Stir within their hearts the gift of truest terror, and all their plans are ruined in the desperate struggle merely to survive.
You guys may say, like, guys, my knowledge of English is so bad that usually when I'll end reacting to it, I'll usually by the end of the video, I put the quotes into ChatGPT and I ask them to do the quotes for them in simpler English so I could understand them. Yeah, I know.
The sons of the Emperor would all shoulder a burden during the years of their infancy. Raised on feral, feudal, and even deaf worlds, each Primarch would be molded by the environment to which he would grow. Yet it cannot be denied the lot of some Primarchs would be starkly worse than others. For not all the Emperor's offspring would be fostered by kind or benevolent fathers. For today, we shall elucidate the creature born of crime, murder, and spite. The Night Haunter of Nostramo, KONRAD CURZE.
Okay, so we're gonna know probably why he became the way he is.
Of all the Primarchs of his Imperium, the child of the 8th Legion would be raised on the most inhospitable and wretched of worlds. The world of Nostramo would be coated in endless night, its lullabies of the screaming of the murdered the only solace for the inhabitants of the world.
Bruh, maybe there's a world which I could go because not the crime, but I think, dude, it's gonna sound so edgy, but I'm gonna tell it anyway. Whenever it's sunny, I have to always go outside with glasses, and whenever I drive my car, I also have to wear glasses because everything is too fucking bright. And in the nights, the fucking light poles have like this, like, light. I don't know how to say. Basically, everything is like flashbanging me. Everything. So being in a world where it's always night seems kinda nice.
Save in the knowledge that another had died in their place that night, the Nostramans would live in an existence steeped in violence, depravity, and lawlessness. The Primarch of the 8th Legion would descend upon the planet, his gestation pod crashing through its polluted hide of the planet's largest city,
Oh, is it just polluted? That's why it's so
Nostromo
dark?
Quintus. Burrowing through the urban architecture, the gestation pod dived into the planet's crust and halted near the liquid molten core of Nostromo. Born into a world of darkness, the infant Primarch would claw his way to the surface through the scar carved through the adamantium and mineral-rich earth.
Now, all other Primarchs. Okay, even Lemon Russ was just raised by Wolf. This guy was in the fucking core of the planet, bro.
Reaching the surface, the child would be confronted by a crazed inhabitant of the planet, seeking to consume the child for his ripe, fresh meat. The first act of the child would be to defend himself from the murderous intent of his first contact with humanity. Slaying the would-be cannibal, the child would swiftly come to realize the twisted morality of his planet. Nostromo was a world drenched in despair.
Dude, this is like, I can't, I'm still thinking about it. This is like spawning on a server where everything is like PvP, like, you just appeared and you already have your first hostile encounters. It's
with
crazy.
no authority or power capable of culling the malevolent and desperate criminals of the planet. Poverty would be rife within the planet's society, with its main productivity derived from the world's mining industry, allowing the tormented populace to eke out a humble existence. The minority of the society would grow bloated with wealth and exploit the lawless underhives and their overpopulated peoples. With no soul on the planet, willing nor capable of adopting the young Primarch, the child would survive alone. His wits
So he had no one who would raise him. That is kinda...
and instincts allowing the Primarch to survive off the vermin and carrion of the planet within the darkness. Plagued by visions of a future he did not comprehend, the Primarch would begin to forge an identity befitting his dour and nihilistic existence. The Night Haunter.
Night Haunter.
The feral scavenger of Nostromo would begin to form a reputation among the populace. Sightings of an uncanny presence atop the roofs and slums of Nostromo Quintus would abound, with tales of a monster preying on the most dangerous of society. The screams of the Night Haunter's victims are balm to his anxieties, and dreams of countless dead upon unknown worlds shaping the Primarch's personality.
He basically became the boogeyman?
Isolation and nightmares would be his only allies within the shadows of the abandoned derelicts to which the Night Haunter would rest. Yet with time, the Primarch of the 8th would grow in both stature and infamy, until the entire planet knew of his deeds. Disgusted at the criminality of his homeworld, the Night Haunter would hunt the delinquents and felons of the hives. Consuming the brain matter of his victims, the Night Haunter would digest the populace's language, memories and sins due to his homophagia organ, and the Primarch would experience...
Oh, he is like a space wolf. I don't remember who said it. I think it was also Brickvat. They eat their enemies, when they eat their memories, they get their like knowledge. So that's how he learned the language. And oh my god.
firsthand the depravity and weakness of his people. Sickened at the deeds of his homeworld's people, the Night Haunter would enact his own dark crusade to purge all crime from the planet. Merciless and savage in his dealings, the Night Haunter would purge the world of swaths of the populace's most revered and notorious criminals.
So basically he became Batman? No. Who is that? Guys, I don't know the Marvel like stuffs. There's like this guy who is like killing criminal. He has like a skull on his chest. I don't remember how it's called.
The tales of the avenging
Punisher,
spectre
maybe?
of the planet would be hushed by the civilians within the hives, and it would not be long until the gangs of Nostromo would band together to hunt the creature down.
Oh, so he got such a reputation that everyone decided to unite against him.
Slaying any who would attempt to end his crusade, the Night Haunter would leave a sole survivor of each failed battle. Severing their hands and gouging their eyes, the survivors of his wrath would return to their masters bearing a simple message: I am coming for you.
Jesus Christ.
Instilling terror within Nostromo, the Night Haunter would slowly erode and silence the corruption of the ruling elite.
Okay, but at this time, does he maybe already start to get some followers? Because as I understand now, he's still solo, basically.
Leaving their hanged bodies atop the hive's
Bruh.
highest windows, often maimed and flayed in horrific displays. Within a year of his reprisal, crime would cease. Confronting the rulers of the planet, the Night Haunter would make a simple demand: obey the law of the Night Haunter, or be judged.
Guys, what do you think? Would crime, like in our world, would disappear if something like this would happen? You know, in every country, you take criminals and literally flay them. Do you think the crime would stop, or it would still continue on going?
Cowed by fear, the Nostramans would relent and allow for the ascension of the so-called Dark King to rule their world. The first monarch of Nostromo would diligently work to restructure his fiefdom. Consuming the planet's historical archival knowledge with ravenous hunger and murdering the last remaining criminal elements within the hives, it would not be long until the Night Haunter would dominate the populace completely. Ruling with temperance, unheard of by Nostraman standards, the civilians would share their wealth equally among themselves. For should they own too much, they would fear reprisal from their Dark King. Within months, the planet's fortunes would abound, the fear instilled within them progressively allowing for years of prosperity and industrious toil.
Again, I'm just thinking about how other Primarchs, you know, their beginnings, and like I don't think yet there was a Primarch who like think about it. Like while and Johnson had followers, like Jagatai Khan has his like three buddies. Rogel Dorn, you know, they all had followers. This guy, Konrad CURZE, is so different. I mean, as I understand, he did this alone. He had maybe there were followers, but his actions, you know, no one helped him to hunt those evil rich people. He did it on his own. So basically, the man fixed his planet, but he became very twisted in doing so. So I'm just curious, when does chaos come into the equation?
Broadcasting the screams of his final victims across every home of the world as a reminder that none would escape his justice, the Dark King had achieved his goal of total obedience. For decades, the Night Haunter would have no need to hunt prey, for none would dare to defy the will of the Dark King. Yet with the arrival of the Emperor of Mankind to the planet, Nostromo's future would be sealed by its own prophecies that the Emperor would cause their downfall.
Really? The Emperor caused the downfall of his whole planet?
Seeing his father's eventual reunion, the Night Haunter would prepare.
Wait, he knew of the arrival of the Emperor? Did I miss something?
Upon the Emperor's arrival, the inhabitants of Nostromo would be unable to look in the direction of the being of gleaming light. The so-called Delegation of Light would see the populace weep at the arrival of the father of their benevolent dictator, and blind any who looked directly upon his visage.
Oh my.
Met by the Primarchs Rogel Dorn, Lorgar Aurelian, Ferrus Manus, and Fulgrim, the Night Haunter would envision dark portents of each.
I think about it, you know, all the Primarchs, when they met with like Emperor, to this point, it was always, maybe there was like Horus, maybe, you know, there was someone else. This Konrad literally meets the Avengers team.
Of their futures. Meeting the Emperor of Mankind, the Night Haunter would be overwhelmed by a vision so terrible he would sink to his knees and attempt to claw his own eyes from their sockets.
Oh, really?
Ending his torment with a touch of his hand, the Emperor would utter, "Be at peace, Konrad CURZE. I have arrived, and I intend to take you home." Submitting to the Emperor of Mankind, the Night Haunter would refuse to adopt his supposed name given by his father. Brought to holy terror.
Wait. Emperor wanted to give him a different name?
to study the doctrines of the Legiones Astartes under the tutelage of the Phoenician, Fulgrim, Konrad Curze would with time be installed as the leader of his legion. Naming them the Night Lords, the 8th Legion would quickly become synonymous with brutal and decisive victories.
Dude, I just can't, dude. It's so cool.
A humorless, yet efficient army, the Night Lords would employ torture, terror tactics, and merciless persecution of any
Okay, their tactics I do not support, but
dissenting opposition. Yet with the absence of the Night Haunter, his homeworld of Nostramo would descend once more into rampant criminality with his absence.
oh yeah, I forgot. He went with Emperor, so in his world, everyone basically stopped caring. Well, the guy who's gonna kill me is gone, so I can just do the crazy shit again. Oh my god.
Claiming the Night Lords to be nothing more than murderers, gifted with the strength of godlike beings, the Nabal of Nostramo would rebel. Konrad Curze would regard his sons in a similar manner, seeing them as unworthy, yet necessary tools to bring compliance to the lawlessness of the galaxy. Believing peace could only be achieved through methods of instilling terror within non-compliant worlds, the Night Haunter would slay his own legionaries should they delight in the act of mutilation and slaughter for their own personal.
I'm just thinking, I do not understand I still don't grasp how does his tactics work. They say terror, so I still don't really understand how they operate.
Gratification. Instilling within his legion that such methods were merely tools to achieve peace, Curze would be disgusted at his son's flagrant degeneracy. Bringing worlds into compliance through many atrocities, though his brother Primarchs would decry his methods, Curze would maintain that his actions, though harsh, would allow for the least amount of.
I may be completely wrong, but as I'm understanding, let's say Space Wolf needs to take over the planet. It's, again, I may be wrong. Please listen to it, okay? So Space Wolves, they just go into planet, they go into war, kill let's say 100,000 people. The people on the planet decide it's not worth it, we're gonna slaughter us, they give up, they join the Imperium. Okay? The Night Lords, as I understand, they do like scare tactics. They basically take, instead of killing 100,000 people, they kill let's say 1,000 in the most gruesome way, and they show it somehow to the populace. And the people on the planet are like, hey, hell no, we ain't finding that. That's how I understand it. But I think it's different.
Bloodletting. Hypocritical in his own enjoyment of inflicting pain onto his victims, the Night Lords would only disguise their enjoyment of their craft from their gene father.
Yeah, and as I understand, they basically, it's not like they do it as a tactic, they literally like doing it.
Their sinister nature left unaddressed by their Primarch due to the constant harassment of his own visions of the future.
I have to say it, there was a point in my life where this image, I used it in my profile picture for 6 years, and I never knew it was Night Lords. That's so crazy. I probably have it somewhere on desktop.
The Nostraman recruits to the Night Lords would further exacerbate their legion's downfall, as each initiate would encompass their homeworld's descent back into delinquency. The rot had been set within the 8th Legion, and with the preponderance of the Legion now born of Nostramo and its culture, the downfall of the Night Haunter would be inevitable. Tormented by visions of betrayal and fratricide, the Night Haunter would delve further into the clutches of madness. Confiding in his mentor, Fulgrim, the Primarch of the 3rd Legion would relay the Night Haunter's mad ravings to the Primarch of the Imperial Fists, Rogel Dawn. Incensed at the slight made against his brethren and the Emperor, Dawn would confront Konrad Curze. Found unconscious with deep gouges left in his torso, the Primarch of the 7th Legion would lay at the side of Konrad Curze. Weeping and racked with guilt, Curze would be imprisoned for his assault of his brother. As the Primarchs discussed the means of how to deal with their brother, the Night Haunter would escape his bonds and slay the Imperial Fist Huskarls stationed to guard his chambers.
Oh my god, sorry.
It has been said by the
Fist Huskarls stationed to guard his chambers.
Oh my god, sorry.
Escaping with his legion, the Night Haunter would travel to his homeworld to seek solace. Yet upon arrival to Nostromo, Konrad Curze's remaining sanity would break.
Oh, he didn't know the world went to chaos. Like, well, not to chaos, but I mean to the other case, not chaos demons, to like anarchy.
During 984.M30, the Night Haunter would discover the fate of Nostromo. Once more corrupted by ceaseless crime, the vengeance of the Primarch of the 8th Legion would be unequivocally merciless. Firing laser bombardments into the rend in the planet's surface, originally made by the Primarch's gestation pod, Nostromo's molten core would detonate. With Imperial pursuit craft sent in the wake of Rogel Dawn's injuries, witnessing Nostromo's destruction, the depravity of the Night Haunter would soon be relayed to the Emperor.
Wait, he didn't want to save his planet again, so he decided to destroy it? That's kinda... That's kinda... I don't know. Okay.
Recalled to Holy Terror, Konrad Curze would answer for his crimes. Explaining to the Emperor that his actions were justified, Curze would accuse the Imperium of hypocrisy in their own dealings of bringing worlds into compliance and utilizing exterminatus to any whom would deny the imperial truth. His excuses would not satisfy the judgment of the Imperium.
I think again in here is like so much like glossing over. I think there something has to happen more than just he went crazy and decided to destroy the whole planet.
And as a result, the Imperium would deny the 8th Legion supplies to their dominions and banish them from the forefront of the Great Crusade. Yet despite his punishment, Curze would seek vindication for his actions. And soon, an opportunity for revenge would present itself. The Horus Heresy, perpetrated by the War Master of the Imperium, Horus Lupercal, would coincide with the prophesied visions of the Night Haunter. Believing his visions to be unchangeable, the Primarch of the 8th Legion would surrender all responsibility for his actions and side with the traitor war effort. Choosing to enact his vengeance.
So he had visions, he knew about all of this happening since beginning, and he like didn't want to change anything because he was like, he believed it that he could not change anything, so he didn't even try. Damn, that's kinda
Against
sad.
the Emperor, Konrad Curze would lead his men to the Battle of Istvan V. Aiding the traitorous betrayal of the loyalist forces of the Iron Hands, Salamanders, and Raven Guard, the Night Lords would revel in their slaughter of the Imperium's noble sons. As the Night Lords butchered the loyalist Astartes, Lorgar Aurelian, Primarch of the Wordbearers, would battle the Raven Lord of the 19th Legion. Besting the bearer of the word in combat, the Urizen's life would be spared by Konrad Curze, who would duel his rival in darkness, Corvus Corax, in Lorgar's place.
Oh, one edgy vampire versus edgy, I don't know, Raven?
Their claws struck, and despite Corax's speed, the Night Haunter would grab his brother.
I'm sorry, I have to say it, the claw struck, that, I don't know. I'm sorry, maybe someone is not gonna like it, it sounds so gay.
By the wrist. Escaping Curze's grasp with the use of his jump axe, the Primarch of the Raven Guard would not risk dueling the Dark King of Nostromo. With the death of the Gorgon and flight of the Raven Lord,
Oh, this is a cool art.
Curze would find a new subject for his depraved tortures and mutilations. The
Oh.
Primarch of the 18th Legion, Vulcan.
Really?
Aboard his flagship, Nightfall, Curze would attempt to break the will of the Primarch of the Salamanders. Finding the Primarch of the 18th to bear the gift of a perpetual, Vulcan's body, no matter how many times it would perish, would rebuild itself.
Wait, Vulcan is unkillable? Bro, isn't that like OP? Wait, that's broken, no?
And bring new life. Seeing an opportunity to torment his noble brother forevermore, the
But maybe that's not OP, because if you feel all the pain, you could probably go crazy. Imagine you die over and over and over and over, And you still regenerate, man. I don't know, maybe that's not
Night
so
Haunter
OP.
would delight in slaying his defenseless brother time and again. For months, the Night Haunter would devise the means for the mutilation and execution of his brother, sating his sadism with increasingly extravagant displays of torture until growing weary of his relentless returns. Tearing him limb from limb, riddling his body with bolter shells, and even disintegrating him within the ship's engine shafts, no matter the cause of death, Vulcan would be resurrected. Unable to break the will of the Lord of Drakes, his attempts to break Vulcan with a variety of methods would always fail.
Bro, Vulcan is like a child.
Devising a final trial to end the Perpetual Primarch's resolve, KURZE would beseech the Primarch of the Iron Warriors, Perturabo, to construct a labyrinth to destroy Vulcan's resolve.
Okay.
Teasing at the center of the labyrinth, Vulcan's personal Warhammer, Dawnbringer, KURZE would not expect the Primarch of the Salamanders to reach his prize. Yet with tireless, unrelenting drive, Vulcan would reclaim Dawnbringer. The Warhammer had been fitted with a secret teleporter within its construction, and after attempting to prevent Vulcan's escape, KURZE would be struck by Dawnbringer before Vulcan would activate its teleporter and escape to the Ultramar system.
Oh hell yeah, Vulcan escaped.
In the wake of the Night Haunter's ever-increasing distractions during the Traitor War effort, Warmaster Horus Lupercal would dispatch the Night Lords at the forefront of their push to Holy Terror, sending a message across the stars that any whom did not kneel would be gifted untold miseries. The Night Lords would enact the Warmaster's remorseless will.
Okay.
Harbingers of the traitor's bloodlust and cruelty, the Night Lords would for months be unopposed in their
I still think, I think that, you know, the Night Lords are good at like breaking the morals of, you know, the guardsmen, maybe even Sisters of Battle and regular populace. I think like in battle versus like regular Space Marines, I don't think their tactics really work that hard. Maybe, you know, few low Space Marines would get scared. I mean they're demigods, but still they're human. But most of them probably don't care.
campaign of defilement. Yet within the Framas sector, the Night Lords would be halted by the First Legion, the Dark Angels. For 3 Terran Standard years, the 1st and 8th Legions would wage a bitter war.
3 years. 3 years.
Nobility and discipline would face opprobrium and barbarity. Leading his men during the Framas Crusade, KONRAD KURZE would delay the Dark Angels from interfering with the plots of the Warmaster. Under the command of their Primarch, Lionel Johnson, the First Legion would prove to be more than a match for the Night Lord's underhanded tactics and cunning. Attempting to sway the Lion to join the Warmaster's cause, KURZE would parley with the Lord of the First. On the planet of Sagwalza, the Primarchs would face each other. The Lion would reject the Night Haunter's offer and attempt to slay KURZE.
I mean, here we already know that his like father figure, if I remember correctly, became the fallen ones and joined Chaos. Maybe KURZE failed to convey and make Lionel and Johnson to join Chaos, but I think it worked on the other half of the Dark Angels who became the Fallen.
The Lion Sword would clash against KURZE's Lightning Claws, Mercy and Forgiveness. 2 of the greatest duelists of the Primarchs would descend into brawling as they disarmed and wounded one another. Yet eventually, KURZE would gain the upper hand. Denied the killing blow against the Lion, the Dark Angel's Seneschal, Corswain, would bury his sword in the back of the Night Haunter. Both legions would reinforce the Primarch's positions and drag their wounded liege lords from the skirmish. Yet when the legions would clash again, the Dark Angels would prove to be the greater strategists. Ambushing the Night Lord's fleet, the Primarchs would once again duel. Slaying the Night Lord's elite Atramentar and destroying the 8th Legion's fleet, the Dark Angels would prove to be an indomitable foe.
They basically won.
Yet the Night Haunter would not be so easily slain and escape the Lion within his own flagship.
Really? In his own ship? What?
For months, Konrad Kurz
For months.
would skulk the dark corners of the Dark Angel's flagship, Invincible Reason.
Sorry.
Cut off from the wider Imperium with the birth of the Ruinstorm, the First Legion would relocate their might to the burgeoning Imperium Secundus of Ultramar. The home system of the Ultramarines Primarch, Rabute Guilliman, Macragge would be the seat of power.
Dude, I just imagine my imagination is going wild. I just imagine like two Dark Angel Space Marines walking in the ship talking to each other, then flickering light happens, and boom, one of them is missing.
For the contingent new Imperium, should the Emperor be slain by the War Master. Yet upon the First Legion's arrival to Macragge, Kurz would escape from the bowels of the Invincible Reason,
How does he do it?
wreaking havoc among the populace of the Ultramarines' homeworld. The combined
Wait, so he escaped the ship and now he's doing it in Ultramarine world. That is fucking
might of the
wild.
Primarchs of the 1st, 13th, and newly arrived 9th Legions would hunt the Night Haunter.
3 legions are hunting this guy and this guy doesn't care.
Primarch
Because he sees the future.
Rabute Guilliman of the Ultramarines would elect the Primarch of the Blood Angels, Sanguinius, as the Imperator Regis of their new contingent empire, with Lionel Johnson appointed as Lord Protector of the Imperium Secundus. It would be his duty to enforce the campaign to apprehend the Night Haunter. Despite the Dark Angel's attempts to thwart the rampage of Konrad Kurz, the Night Haunter would come close to crippling the Loyalist research of the Sofa device, ministered by the Imperial Fist Captain, Alexis Pollux. Confronted by Rabute Guilliman and the Lion within the Fortress of Hera, Kurz would detonate explosives concealed within the temple. Before dealing the killing blow, the Loyalist Primarchs would be rescued by the ministrations of the Loyalist Warsmith, Barabbas Antioch, and Alexis Pollux, by once more utilizing the Sofa device. Unaware of their survival, Kurz would turn his attentions to add one final wound to the Ultramarines Primarch. Within the capital city of Macragge, the Night Haunter would attempt to slay Rabute Guilliman's adoptive mother, Tarasha Uton.
Okay, bro, that's a bit too far. Nah.
Hindered by the Space Wolves, appointed to monitor the Ultramarines Primarch, Kurz would nonetheless seemingly be unopposed in slaying the mother of the Lord of Ultramar. Yet against the odds, the reborn Primarch of the Salamanders, Vulcan, would face Kurz. In spite of the intervention of the perpetual John Grammaticus and Kurz's banishment into the Warp, the Night Haunter would not be denied so easily. Infiltrating the throne room of Macragge, the Night Haunter would confront his vision-attuned brother, Sanguinius. Seeking answers for why the Great Angel still remained loyal, despite the visions that he had...
Yeah, I told you guys, I like Sanguinius, so I know about him. So Sanguinius basically can also see the future.
endured. Kurz would never...
But I never knew Konrad also had this ability. So basically Konrad, I guess, is asking Sanguinius, why are you still loyal if you know how everything is messed up?
understand the loyalty he had shown the Emperor. Offering Sanguinius the chance to end his misery, the Great Angel would abstain from slaying his brother, and Kurz would escape once more into the dark corners of Macragge.
Sanguinius, you are a pure soul.
With the return of Lionel Johnson and Rabute Guilliman, Kurz would finally be brought to justice. Captured and brought before trial to judge him for his crimes, the proceedings would be conducted by the Emperor of Imperium Secundus, Sanguinius. Admitting to his actions, Kurz would not accept any guilt for his misdeeds.
This crazy fuck, man.
Turning the Lion and Guilliman against one another due to the methods the Lord of the First had used to root out the Night Haunter, the Lords of Imperium Secundus would fracture. Dissolving their new Imperium, Guilliman and Sanguinius would in private decide to execute the Night Haunter, yet with the intervention of Lionel Johnson, stay their hand. Repeating Kurz's claim to observe his own death at the hands of an agent of the Emperor, the Lion would surmise that the Emperor still ruled Holy Terror. Hope burgeoned in the hearts of the Primarchs, and with Sanguinius' own visions of his death at the hands of the War Master, the Loyalists with Kurz in their custody would venture to breach the Ruinstorm.
Okay.
Chaining the Night Haunter within the bowels of the invincible reason, the lion would endure the taunts of his degenerate brother.
So Conrad is like chained and he was still taunting Goliath.
On the world of Darwin, the Primarchs would drag Curze to the temple, wherein the War Master had been first corrupted. With the eruption of demons from a portal within the temple, Curze would once more be shackled within the Dark Angel's flagship as the Loyalists countered the demonic incursion. Finding a means to breach the storm, the Dark Angels and Ultramarines would buy time for Sanguinius and his Blood Angels to venture to Holy Terror. Taking custody of the Night Haunter, Sanguinius would bring to him the Emperor's judgment.
Okay.
Yet once aboard the Red Tier, Curze would be confined within a stasis coffin and jettisoned into space by the Great Angel.
They just sent boy in space?
Sanguinius would tell the Night Haunter that, alike to himself, he must follow his own envisioned path. Adrift for many years, Curze would survive into the following millennia. The Horus Heresy would end, with the Emperor slaying the War Master and the traitors scattering across the stars. Discovering the salvage ship, Sheldron, the stasis pod would unknowingly release the Night Haunter among their crew. Assuming control of the vessel, Curze would journey for 4 years once more to Sagwalza and reunite with his disparate gene sons. Reuniting his legion, Curze would enshrine the Night Lord's base of operations upon the Carrion world.
Dude, I have to say, the amount of shit Conrad endures and he still comes back to fuck you over, that's impressive.
Accepting his
I'm
prophesied
sorry.
fate, the Night Haunter would guide his legion on a path of self-sufficiency without his presence and await his killer. The Calidus assassin, M. Shen, would discover the Dark King upon his Carrion throne. Unguarded, and with no obstacles preventing the assassin's path, the Godslayer would act.
Would you let her slay you, hypothetically?
Slicing the Night Haunter's head from his body, the torment of Konrad Curze had finally ended. Yet whispers across the galaxy persist that the spectre of death shall one day return against all odds and records of his demise.
This is the only part that I really don't understand about Conrad is I think he died to simply prove a point. And that's so stupid. He died because he envisioned his death from that assassin lady. And as I recall, they even let that lady leave the ship when she killed him. But later I think they still killed her, but way later. But he basically died, but in death he was like, I was right. And I think that is so not cool to do.
For the shadow of the Night Haunter still stalks the galaxy, with the Night Lord's continued defilement of the Imperium in his name.
I just think since his death, I think the Night Lords became even more crazy.
By reason, by truth, I have learned how your hearts and minds function. With that law, I brought peace to this culture.
At the cost of freedom, the Night Haunter drew in a slow breath through his knife-slit smile.
Peace reigns as I reign. I wouldn't expect your little minds to understand. You are a little man with little dreams.
You've ushered in the peace of the graveyard. The noble dared to take a step closer. Peace at the cost of surrendering all choice, all freedom. The city lives in terror, forced to live by the standards you place upon our shoulders.
Yes,
The Night Haunter replied.
yes,
But every sin
is
Yes.
punished.
The Night Haunter listened to their hearts beating blood through their bodies.
Yes.
But punishment by death, no matter the crime, no matter the scale of the sin, the people of the city live in silence, lest a single word earn them death for speaking out against you.
Yes,
The Night Haunter closed his dark eyes, as if listening to that very silence drifting across the city.
listen. Listen to the sound of raw silence. Is it not serene?
Okay, Conrad, a bit crazy.
This has been a tale of the great Imperium of Man, read by the Remembrancer.
Thank you, Remembrancer.
The Dark King of Nostramo would live his life convinced that his destiny had been sealed. Yet the Emperor teaches us that there are many futures that we must choose, for we are not the pawns of fate. For in my next transmission, we shall elucidate a Primarch whose future had been stolen from his grasp.
Who is it?
The tortured gladiatorial slave of Nuceria,
Angron?
Angron.
Yeah, but we ain't gonna do Angron because we're gonna do Sanguinius. We're gonna go in Breaky's order. So yeah, again, as always, thank you, Remembrancer, for making the video. I fucking enjoyed it. Yeah, KONRAD. Crazy guy. I don't know. I think there's like a lot of stuff is like missed, and I think maybe there are some nice people who take their time and they type all the missing information in the comments. So yeah, I'll be waiting for the comment guy to clarify a lot of things. I don't know. I think KONRAD is kind of cool, but he has his serious like problems. I don't know. I like this Legion. I like their like the way they look, their design. I think they're super like it's great. They're sick. Like I love them. I can't really support their actions though, you know, because I don't think that's very cool. Yeah, that's all I got to say. I thank the Remembrancer. Please leave a like if you liked my reaction. If you didn't like it, well, you know, do your thing. Please sub. It means a lot. It really means a lot. It basically, I appreciate it a lot. Alright. Ciao, cacao.